am recording this podcast for the Housing Education Research and Advisory Center of Faculty of Architecture and Urban Research Development Center of Eastern Mediterranean University. This is Dr. Tania Debnath, a research associate working with National Institute of Urban Affairs located in New Delhi, India. NIUA is a research think tank under the Union Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs of India. As an urban researcher, my prime objective is to find the soul of the city dwellers by finding their daily experiences, which is the central theme of urban planning and architecture. Besides that, I am an economic geographer by training, and I am passionate about understanding the home workplace balance of urban workers. Today, I want to share the findings of my doctoral research, which I would prefer to term as home to workplace linkages of informal workers in Kolkata, implication of urban planning on their livelihoods. As we all know, home to workplace linkage is the key area to understand, especially for an urban planner as well as an economic geographer. Spatiality is a basic factor of labor markets, therefore should get the central stage in understanding of economic lives of the city dwellers. Occupational choice and job search are spatially embedded. Therefore, in the seminal research based on the Worcester study, Hansen and Pratt in the year of 1992 have mentioned that the economic dimensions of life cannot be divorced from the social dimension, while neither should be lifted out of spatial context. They argued that space acts as a constraining factor as well as a facilitator in labor market creation. In defining labor market, geographical arena is an important criterion. Space acts as a container as well as the facilitator in the operation of labor markets. In a more technical term, in an intracity spatial analysis of employment, a term which is very commonly used, that is local labor market, it is generally defined as home workplace distance. The existing literature says that the size of the local labor market considerably differs for men and women and varies with the level of human capital. It also varies with the changes in the housing market and transport facilities as it changes the travel pattern of the workers. There are different theories that have tried to explain the home workplace linkages and its determining factors. Spatial mismatch hypothesis and spatial entrapment hypothesis are two main hypotheses in this context. Spatial mismatch hypothesis explain how, due to urban restructuring, some groups are spatially distant from the availability of jobs. The role of residential segregation acts as the main spatial barrier in job access. As a part of the theory also tries to understand the creation of spatial niche in terms of occupational concentration. They try to see how the segregation of housing market and geographic distribution of economic opportunities shape the difference in niche creation among different groups of population, especially migrants of different ethnicity. On the other hand, spatial entrapment hypothesis discusses how spatial pattern of jobs have different impacts on two genders in terms of spatial mobility, access and occupational segregation. The choice of job access among women is more spatially constrained compared to men. Women's lesser travel to work is explained through their lower earning level, their greater burden of household responsibilities, and the availability of female type jobs in every locality. The studies on job search theory also corroborate that the poorer and the less educated worker, especially women, tend to commute lesser distance. Hence, the work life and social relation are also created at a very local level. Simpson in the year 1980 introduced a model called spatial job search and mentioned that the role of urban structure and search cost in the labor market outcome. It is also debated that the commuting distance varied with human capital, wage, and types of job. All these theoretical findings are extremely important to understand the home workplace linkages of workers, especially workers from lower socio-economic rung. Against this background, today I will describe how informal workers who have no access to decent job and earn meager wage work close to their place of residence. In India, as of in 2018, it is estimated that more than 90% workers are employed in informal employment. Mostly, they work in sectors like petty trading, construction, transport, and domestic work, etc. A majority of these workers earn below minimum wage and find difficulty in maintaining decent living in the city. Many literature also link the migrant workers in the city and their struggle in informal employment. Majority of these migrants belong to the lower economic strata and live in the slums of the city. My doctoral research is based on Kolkata, the third largest metropolitan city in India. Approximately three-fourths of the workers in Kolkata are engaged in various kinds of informal employment. Before understanding the economy of Kolkata, it is very important to know its history and geography. Kolkata, erstwhile Calcutta, was established as a port city by British East India Company in 1690 in the eastern part of India. In no time, it grew as the main trading center and became the capital of British colony in India. It became the largest city in the country. With the rising prosperity, it started to attract thousands of migrants from different parts of the country. Migrants came and settled mainly in the northern part of the city, which was also known as the native town, and they established many wholesale markets in that part of the city. Also, Kolkata and its surrounding region experienced growth of various industries dominated by jute and cotton textile. The city grew at an unprecedented rate till 1911 when the Britishers decided to shift the capital to Delhi. The city's economy started to fall since then. India became independent from the colonial rule in 1947 when Kolkata noted influx of thousands of migrants from hinterlands as a result of partition of Bengal. However, the economy never revived and the economic crisis reached its peak in 1970s when Kolkata experienced another wave of migration from recently independent Bangladesh. At the same time, majority of its industries started to shut down due to lack of capital, leaving many people to find employment in low productive sectors such as petty trading and small manufacturing workshop. With the decline in Kolkata's formal economy, the city dwellers became more independent with the informal sectors. The same trend is continuing even after a consistent effort in reviving Kolkata's economy. Rather, it experienced a dying of leather and garment industry which was once very prosperous. Different waves of migration from different geographical location has altered the city's spatial and social fabric. Like other colonial cities, Kolkata is also divided into two parts. The northern and central part of Kolkata is characterized by dense built up with a vibrant social fabric and grew as a native town since its birth. The northern part of the city, since its birth, had a compact pattern with a mixed land use. Therefore, the coexistence of home and workplace is embedded in the economic fabric of the city. this part of the city. On the other hand, the southern part of the city came into existence in much later period. Therefore, this part of the city is dominated by residential areas with few patches of markets and industries. It is noted that due to different waves of migration from different geographical location, the residential areas have been divided based on socio-religious and linguistic compositions. For example, the central area is concentrated by Muslims and migrants from neighboring states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. On the other hand, the southern periphery of the city is dominated by recent migrants from the peri-urban areas of the city, and this southern part of the city has a stark class divide with living of the elite as well as the slum dwellers. The city economy is also guided by the socio-cultural fabric. Different groups of migrant, religious and linguistic groups have created different occupation niche in the city. This is because of long-term practice of social network-based hiring practices that create an interesting occupational niche, which is also geographically embedded. Therefore, I decided to find out the home and workplace linkages of the poor city dwellers located in various parts of the city. Here, I have focused on the poor informal workers living in various slums who are engaged in various kinds of traditional works. During my field survey, I have interviewed 2,400 informal workers from the 6 slum clustered and asked about their nature of employment and the location of their workplace. It is seen that the median distance of home to workplace for the surveyed workers is around 1.5 kilometer. It is noted that the land use pattern of the city has an impact on the travel pattern of these workers. It is noted that majority of the workers, especially in the older part of the city where the mixed land use pattern still predominates, work proximate to their place of residence. In this part of the city, home to workplace median distance is less than 1 kilometer. Most of the workers work in nearby market and industrial workshops. In many cases, the workshops are located at their place of residence or just in the neighborhood. On the other hand, the peripheral part of the city, the residential zones are separated from the zones of concentration of economic activities. In those parts, for similar kind of work, the median distance from home to workplace is 2 kilometer, which is twice compared to the central part of the city. Therefore, there is a clear indication between the distance from the city center and the increasing home and workplace distance. Interestingly, gender plays an important role in determining home workplace distance. There is a clear cut gender difference in terms of home workplace distance. Women tend to commute less than half the distance compared to men in all the 6 surveyed locations. Majority of the women in the sample states that they work within 1 kilometer from their residence and mostly work as domestic servants. It is noteworthy that most of the women have found their present employment through their neighborhood based contact and have no idea about the economic landscape of the city beyond the place where they work, which is not the case for men. Most of the men are aware of the economic landscape of the city but choose to work closer to their place of residence as getting job is easier in the place proximate to their residence. Men have some kind of familiarity and established social work which help them to get better employment and help them to open a business very easily. Therefore, women in the city seems to be spatially entrapped because of their limited knowledge. In overall, it can be said that the informal workers in Kolkata prefer to work near their residential area, which create an overlapped spatial mosaic of zones defined by home workplace connections. Now, we will discuss it from the planning perspective and the present ongoing urban planning regime. as the poor or informal workers prefer to work close to their place of residence in order to save their commuting cost. Mixed land use pattern would be the best option for the city. However, the city planners do not consider the requirement of the poor city dwellers and their economic need. In the neoliberal regime, like other metropolitan cities, the urban planners are trying to remake the city to give it a global outlook by decongesting its core. The old wholesale markets are being demolished to make a way for new shopping malls. The planners are trying to make separate residential zone from economic zones. However, they do not understand the plights of the poor informal workers. Most of these poor migrant workers tend to walk to their place of work in order to save the commuting cost. There are several instances found where the rezonation has taken place, which has made many poor residents jobless and many trying to cope with the increased commuting cost. In a city like Kolkata, where 33% of its people live in slums and are near poverty line, they tend to find employment closer to their place of residence. In this scenario, compact urban plan with mixed land use pattern is most appropriate and make the lives of the poor more sustainable. Thank you.